There's Barack Obama. He's appearing in a one-man show, but nobody knows. Yes, this. I think that's Alfred Nobel. It must be the Nobel Peace Prize.
What's that?
That's something you really shouldn't know about. He did win the Nobel Peace Prize, so that's what it is, I think. That's why he's...
Do you know what he was being honoured for with the Nobel Peace Prize?
For peace.
Do you know what the most important immediate consequence of the announcement?
Twitter crashed.
Twitter crashed completely, and Stephen Fry had to talk to real people. And Twitter went into meltdown over something else this week, didn't it, Ian?
It's a fairly simple story. There's a company called Trafigura, well worth remembering, and they were accused of dumping toxic waste on the Ivory Coast. And at the same time, though obviously there's no connection, a lot of people were very badly injured. And then Trafigura paid out £30 million. Obviously it was nothing to do with them. They didn't admit liability, because, you know, you would pay £30 million to people who'd had nothing to do with them being injured. So the Guardian newspaper got a really good bit of information about this story. So they rang up Trafigura, who immediately rang their lawyers, didn't answer the question, said, here's an injunction, you can't publish this, and you can't publish the fact that we're gagging you. Now, that's fairly outrageous. That means you can't publish at all. So an MP raised the question, and the London lawyers of Trafigura, Carter Ruck, who specialise in reputation management, an MP in your Houses of Parliament tried to raise this issue, and the lawyers said the press can't report what's happening in Parliament. So Twitter went into meltdown, various stupid people published the question that the MP had raised. Actually, only one person did. That was Private Eye. And the Guardian said they were going to court because it's their story and they'd sort of taken it that way, and Carter Ruck backed down. They were basically told to Carter Ruck off. And it was a terrific victory for freedom of the press, for the Guardian, and probably not for Trafigura and Carter Ruck and dumping toxic stuff in the Ivory Coast. Is that the right answer?
Yes, I think that's... yes. Forging on to round two, it's the jigsaw of news.
Jigsaw
Buzz,
of news?
The jigsaw of news.
Blimey.
Yes. Buzz when you know what the story is.
OK.
Charlie?
It's the machine that's going to strip you naked, whether you want it to or not.
They're described as less embarrassing than coming across... No, it's less embarrassing than...
Fumbling your lines.
I've read a lot so far. It's not easy, is it? They've said that it'll avoid...
What?
Sorry, my E's just kicked in.
It's the other vowels you ought to worry about.
They said that it'll avoid embarrassing pat-down checks, which are considered less embarrassing than coming across a grainy black and white close-up of your Johnson on YouTube. But you can still opt for the pat-down if you prefer. That's an extra tenner on Ryanair.
Is Johnson named after anyone in particular? Boris or...
Ulrika? Who knows?
Yeah. Let's look at your Doc Johnson.
Yeah, Doc Johnson.
On the news, it made a lot of people...
Very happy.
...that spoke, very happy, and they felt safer.
That's because they can't hear the laughter from the room next door.
Well, yeah, but that's just common sense. You don't want the laughter piped into the room where people are...
How long before this
Here he comes, old bent cock. You don't want to hear that, do you? You don't want to hear that when you've got your luggage. That's not the room's basic human decency stuff.
That's what they do. The terrorists would just get people with really weird genitals.
Yes.
To hide it, you could hide it, you could have a rocket launcher up here.
Yeah.
And they'd be so busy staring down there, they're not going to laugh.
Doesn't that look like Tony Benn? And you don't suddenly that's... Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
That's the Hadron Collider, isn't it?
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
I'm quite wrong. It's Stargate.
The £4 billion Hadron Collider might be sabotaging itself from the future.
Wait a minute. If it's sabotaging itself from the future, it must work. But it doesn't work. So it's making itself not work in the present because it works in the future.
It doesn't have to work in order to sabotage itself. It's come back from the future.
But that means it works.
No, no. That's not what it's trying to do. It's not built to sabotage itself. It's built to make thingies.
It is. It's built to make thingies. It is.
It is.
It is built to make thingies.
It is.
Important.
Yes.
She's 100, did you say?
Yes. And so, putting the javelin and letting go
Is she
back.
doing these things against her will?
Against her knowledge.
Yeah, against her knowledge.
The category she entered was shot put, women aged 100 to 104. Anybody know how many competitors in that group?
Her.
Yes, just the one. Yes. Probably couldn't get a job on Strictly Come Dancing, though, could she? Arlene, do you want to tell us about all that? Address the nation? Yes. What went on? Why have they done that? What did they say?
I know what the newspapers said. What the newspapers said was 66. But that was the newspapers.
Yeah.
I think they felt that my time had come on the show. No one keeps him
How
together.
can your
not even
time have
Tess.
come when Brucey's is still rolling on? I bet he's been in the Hadron Collider. So, Anton, then, what's he like?
Who?
Anton Dubik.
Anton.
This is a man who's never seen the show but has read about it. So he mispronounces some of the names as he's read them.
They are not taught to think for themselves.
Right, because people are shouting 1-2 at you all the time.
1-2, that's it, basically.
actually,
1-2,
no.
1-2. No, you're doing 2-1. You're doing 2-1.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how you count a dancer in. That's why they have such trouble, sort of, in the real world. Because that's all they hear. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, it's like being in hot gossip here.
Have you got stockings and suspenders on?
Go on, give us a bit of warning, will you? This is about new guidelines about what comedy can and can't do. You mustn't humiliate people. There's various things. You mustn't use fish-based puns. There's a whole bunch of stuff that used to be considered acceptable but no longer is.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Intimidation, humiliation, intrusion, aggression, or derogatory remarks.
Or fish-based puns.
Or
like,
fish-based
Like, I've got
puns.
a haddock, or something like that. Or... Would you lie on your back and fill it? You know, that sort of thing. Fish-based puns. We've grown out of them. It's not fair. It's not fair to the fish. They can't answer back.
They can't. It's soulless.
Yeah.
Blimey, that was rubbish, isn't it?
Once you knew the fish-based pun was taken away from you, you would no, we want it back. And
Yes.
you cheered, soulless. That was fantastic. Did it for the halibut.
9 p.m. watershed signals the beginning of the transition to more adult material, but the change should not be abrupt.
So if you're going to swear, you sort of do it with a stutter. You stupid for that. It's 9:15, fat face. Is that how it works?
Yes, something like that.
Oh, my God.
We did have a... Some politician...
Somewhat. Some Polynesians...
Politicians!
Oh, Polynesians.
For God's sake, listen.
I'm listening, Polynesians. They're new words, are they? Just turned in to call my bluff, Polynesian. Well, it's a kind of walnut that's also a fruit.
Apparently, the judges know what they're going to say beforehand.
Do they?
I read it.
Really? But she hasn't written the book yet.
I know, I beat down the Collider.
I've been down the canal. He's an Oxford-educated man. I've been down the canal. Christ, smashing them particles in it, I went back to 1678. What's going on? I've been down the canal.
This will be her soon-to-be-written autobiography. And I wonder how many carbon you have. Sorry, it's getting worse. It's been a long
Oh,
day.
you want to get some speech lessons, mate? Go down the canal. Meet up with somebody who knows a bit of yap.
Cat signs up what?
Oh, it's signed up for Twitter.
Yes. It's ordered 17 box sets of Boston Legal. Pressing the click now button. And it's only going, what am I watching all this for? The cat's going, Is that it?
George the cat has already got a long list of clients for his hypnotherapy, mainly beagles trying to give up smoking.
Nice to see that comic reference come back.
I know, it's
over
been
the
years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. I've missed that. Beagle smoking. I missed
Keeping
that.
a lot of old jokes alive, this show.
resemble that remark. I told him.
Is one of them saying, they've given us a bottle of red wine and we're eating fish?
Mrs. Penguin looks out the window and thinks to herself, where did it all go wrong? I've come via the collider!
And in Saffron Walden, one fan regrets winning the eBay auction for the wax syringed out of Andrew Marr's ears. But do you know what the bonus pot at Goldman Sachs is going to be this year?
Oh, about, I don't know, a couple of billion.
Oh, no, you're undercharging.
180 billion.
No, you're overcharging.
Yeah. Is it somewhere in between the two?
It's essentially all these huge numbers. It's actually huge numbers to arseholes. That's the summary.
Wasn't that a Clint Eastwood Western? Part of the Spanish trilogy, wasn't it?
I think it's got a bit of a farmer's tan as well.
Yeah. What's that?
You've heard of farmers.
I've heard of farmers. Do you know, I've heard of farmers, I've heard of tan, I've just never put the two concepts together.
No, because they work outside, so they get a tan up to here.
Because they have
And
to wear
then the
shirts,
shirt sleeves,
so as not
yeah.
to scandalise the sheep.
Is it sure it's not called a farmer's tan because they only put their arm up the cow's arse that far?
Oh, you put the Royal Bank of Scotland in your tapestry, didn't you?
I did.
A ship of fools?
Yeah, the RBS is the lookout on the ship of fools.
Who else is on the ship of fools? Not me.
No. You.
It's actually to do with postmen, who've also been talking about money this week.
So there's a strike. There's probably a strike on now. And on the repeat. And actually, if you're watching Dave, there's probably still a strike.
So, anyone been affected yet? Ian, what are you going to do about your subscriber?
I'm going to take round his copy personally.
Thank you.
So I have got one letter this week. I didn't think I'd get any mail, but I got a letter in the post from a solicitor called Carter Ruck.
I've heard they're very good.
Yeah. It says not for publication, so I'd better not read it out. But it said the injunction from last week that a lot of people made a lot of fuss about has been totally discharged. Oh dear, how humiliating for them.
But,
the postmen, I feel sorry for them, particularly the ones on the first day of the strike, because everyone arrived at your door with your letters, and everyone went, I thought you were on strike. No, that's us tomorrow. It's sorting people who are on strike today. And after a while, it must have become very wearisome for them. And I thought, as soon as I said it to my postman, I thought you were on strike. No, we're tomorrow, sorting stuff today. I went, how many times have you said that to arseholes who don't quite keep up exactly to the news?
Yeah.
Even ones who are appearing on topical news shows on TV this week.
To be fair, what else are you going to say to a postman? I mean, what do you say the rest of the time? I see you're delivering letters as usual. The thing to ask is there a way I could get my letters on a sort of amateur basis? Where do you get them from? I ordered Speed 2 off Amazon.
They recreate a terrorist incident as though there weren't enough, and then invite you to find it amusing.
I think what it is, it's advanced slapstick. Instead of seeing someone just fall into a pond, it's watching a man grovel in fear for his very life.
Are you sneering at cultural difference again?
I'm sneering at that programme, you know. I'm fine with sushi. And what's the latest German idea to encourage people to consider leaving the car at home?
Making everywhere really unattractive to go to?
No, it's more seedy than that. It's
More seedy.
Yeah.
Portable brothels that run on their own steam.
You're getting closer now. It's
Really?
Think bicycle, think brothel. And, you know...
Sure, I'm finished.
And, yeah.
OK.
Yeah, and now, what it is that one Berlin brothel is
Yeah.
offering a €5 discount for clients who arrive by bicycle. To prove it, according to The Independent, they have to present their helmet at the desk.
I don't know who that is.
Anyone? Should we take away the disguise, give you a clue?
Yeah.
Anyone want to guess?
No, I have no idea.
No. OK. Next one, fingers on Buzz's team. Anyway, there's a dog that can paint. Grayson, how do you feel about that? You threatened?
He can't paint. He can move paint about the surface of a bit of paper. You know, my cat can do that on the floor.
But it's abstract.
That question has been answered years and years, a century ago by Duchamp, you know. It's what's good now. Here, that's the difficult question. Look, don't pretend not to understand, Ian.
That's a great rebuke, that. I'm going to use that. Don't pretend not to understand, because you're sort of complimenting at the same time as being patronising. Trafficker reflects our passionate belief in giving people the opportunity to fulfil their potential. Now, they're an oil company.
Yeah.
Even if they're a completely reputable oil company, which I doubt, that doesn't mean they've got a passionate belief in giving people the opportunity to fulfill. They've got a passionate belief in getting oil, moving it and selling it.
Yeah.
That's morally neutral. But
Don't pretend not to understand, David.
Is it about question time?
They've all been on Question Time.
Except Margaret Thatcher.
Who wouldn't go on?
Yes, you're absolutely right. They've all been on Question Time, except Margaret Thatcher. I've no idea how that will manifest itself in points.
I was going to say Margaret Thatcher. Could that in any way sway the points to this side?
Are you aware of a quiz that will accept the I was going to say defence?
Tony Blair started selling insurance.
About the only job he hasn't taken at the moment.
I mean, you'd think he wouldn't want a job, given he's already Middle East peace envoy. And after he left, the first thing he did was to make himself a Catholic, which I think most people, I think that was fair enough, because he's got enough to be guilty about.
I thought it was because he wanted to be Pope as well.
Somebody wanted to know...
I've become President of Europe.
Mr. Burko, incidentally, has a flat in London, and his wife has 2 flats, which she has to wear every time she poses next to him. That'd be like if we get married, Ian.
It would be, but luckily I'm already married.
Yeah, well, we can change that. Don't say you don't know the chemistry. I know it's there. And it's properly scared. Brilliant.
Let's welcome the chocolate hobnob and custard cream of Licknight. I would like to apologise.
That's an apology from the ginger nut in the middle.
Thank you for your support from the Jammy Dodger. I would like to apologise.
We're doing biscuit insults. Think of biscuit insults.
Can I get this apology off my chest?
Yes,
it's
do,
been
please.
on wing. I'd like to apologise for calling Michael Portillo a chocolate hobnob. I didn't think at the time, but I realised it was seriously sexist, and your private life, Michael, is none of my business.
That's not going to be your last apology. Ah, those BBC lawyers. Hello.
So, we'll see if that makes it through to the final cut.
It's the best bit so far.
So they pulled it, though, didn't they? The BBC refused to show that bit.
They pulled it from the iPlayer.
Right. So that's a non-statement now. It never happened.
Never happened.
Well, I'm glad no one showed it
You
then.
will all be...
You will all be killed as you leave this studio.
That's lowered the mood, hasn't it? You'll be killed as you leave the studio. Well, to be fair, we didn't pay to get in.
We're going to make such an arse of the Olympics, aren't we? Every other Olympics, it all starts off with fantastic global effects and everything, and the flame will go out on the first afternoon. Boris will be walking through the crowds. Anybody got a light?
I think that'll be fantastic. I mean, trust an old Stalinist to think the Chinese opening was wonderful. Hundreds of robotics.
I'm not an old Stalinist. I'm not an old Stalinist.
No, that's very unfair. You were an old communist, weren't you? No, I'm just saying that it's typical that Mark would like that display of regimented Soviet-Chinese-style discipline. So I quite like the idea of Boris going and asking someone for a light.
You make a little joke about Boris Johnson and suddenly you're a long-standing supporter of Mao's Red Army, aren't you?
The show's suddenly changed into a war trial. Where were you on October the 14th, 1938? Come on.
I just thought I invaded Japan and I thought I'd cover it up with a joke about Boris Johnson. I'm sorry.
You are seeking to intermediate between me and the public about these questions about his background, his final...
Boris,
all this
I
sort of
tell you
stuff.
what, if you don't want any intermediation, why don't you take the camera there? Take the camera and tell them. Tell the camera, tell the public what sort of a chap David Cameron is.
He's a first-rate chap. He's a very good guy. He will deliver a fantastic, committed and determined Conservative government and give this country the new leadership that it is crying out for after a decade, unrepentant, unbelievable Labour government.
The thing I love about that moment is the exact moment where the teacher says, well, if you're so clever, you come out and teach the class. And then the person does, and it's better than the teacher.
It's Jack Warner as George Dixon, of Dixon and Doc Green. He first appeared in the film The Blue Lamp, made in 1950 by Ealing Studios, and he was killed outside a cinema, as was the conclusion of the film, by a very young Dirk Bogarde, who was making one of his early film appearances as the villain. And
repetition of film.
Queen Victoria was... Here's Morton College, Oxford. When did this turn into University Challenge? What's going on here?
No, it's not being drunk in public, it's about wearing underpants. Yeltsin, Clinton admitted that he'd found him in the middle of the night, wandering around in his underpants, having lost his trousers.
Wandering around in his underpants? How big were these underpants?
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop, Andrew Neil, Paul Merton and Mark Neal. And I leave... Oh, who?
Love Child!
During the course of this programme, I've become a Stalinist and related to Andrew Neil.
Yeah. Well, on balance, what would you say was the worst?
OK, I'm a Stalinist.
I'll say that again, then.
Yeah, do. It was funny.
Investment bankers at Nomura this week were accused of sexism. One male banker is accused of alluding to a female colleague's breasts with the words, "Oh, you don't have your honkers out today, I see." Honkers. Now, there's a man who could do with a swift kick in the conkers.
We've all got to live in 1950... There's a man having brain surgery, followed by the Tiller Girls, and then there's sort of more old computers.
A bloke's just he's drawn a bandaged testicle.
Yeah. Scientists have got too much time in their hands.
No, this was the fear detector the Mail reported on. The technology recognises a pheromone or scent signal produced in sweat when a person is scared. It is the invention of Professor Tong Tan. Now, what he did was, people going on their first skydiving jump, he put sort of cotton pads under their armpits to collect their sweat.
Right.
He then recruited a whole bunch of other people and asked them to sniff these pads. And I know. How did he recruit those people to do that?
Is this bloke a doctor?
He calls himself a professor. I haven't seen the certification, but that's how he's known.
I could call myself a centaur, but, you know, I haven't got horse's legs under here. Or have I?
No, you haven't.
No.
So...
That's investigative journalism at its finest.
Science Minister Lord Drayson couldn't understand why Alan Johnson had done it and assumed he must have been off his honkers on crack.
Off his honkers? Running gag. Well, it's limping a bit at the moment.
I thought honkers were women's breasts.
Yes, that's right. That's what we mentioned before, and so that's...
Yeah, I know, but isn't he a man?
I had precisely this conversation in the script meeting. I'm glad you're supporting me.
Yeah, but...
I don't want me to be pedantic, but I mean, this is proper science we're talking about.
I thought you were going to say, there's a script meeting.
Well, this clearly isn't the result of a script meeting, what we're doing. Or is
no, it isn't. I'm sorry, I was early.
Yeah, sorry. This is... Well, this obviously isn't the result of a script meeting.
No, it isn't.
Is it not my line?
Yes, it's yours.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll do it again later when it gets a bit dull. Which will be any time now.
Is that the script there, is it?
That is my script, yes.
Oh.
I can't rely on natural wit, you see. Unlike you, I need a script, so that's
I thought that woman in the front row just brought a telly with words on it. So she's a bit presumptuous, isn't she? Got some jokes for you.
There was a new entry in this GQ list at number 67.
Ian?
Oh, surely not.
Surely. You'll be glad to know that you were one slot ahead of the Foreign Secretary.
But Ian, they've used for your head there, they've used the same picture with the baby on the Cowan Gate. Do you remember?
Ian and Kevin.
This is Boris Man, who rode to the rescue of a damsel in distress, who, it seems, was being terrorised by a gang.
I reckon he should be the new Batman. That'd be fantastic if somebody's getting attacked. Are you Batman and just out of the car?
It's a terrific story.
If true. Yes, anyway.
Oh, the mirror's so grudging, isn't it? She was alone at night. These girls, one of them had a bar, and they pushed her up against a car, and then she cried out for help, and there was this cyclist. I mean, this is almost impossibly unlikely, isn't it?
Just before that, there was a little illuminated sign in the sky. It had B written on it. And they immediately sprang into action.
As he
From
chased...
the Boris Cave.
Yeah.
No, out he comes, out of the Boris cave, and with his blood-curdling cry, you know what he shouted? Clear off, you oiks!
And after he chased the oiks down the street, do you know what happened after that, according
He
to the
found a
Mail?
phone box and changed back into the Mail of London.
He came back and insisted
he walked
on
her home,
walking
didn't
He doesn't miss a chance, does
No,
he?
he doesn't. This is the terrifying experience of a London woman who was rescued by Boris Johnson from a gang of girls. The woman explained how she called out for help to a passing cyclist, then thought to herself, oh, my God, it's Boris Johnson. A phrase that's been uttered on this show on more than one occasion.
Who are you going to call? Boris Johnson.
Oik busters.
In other crime news...
That could be a Christmas single if we get together.
Yeah.
If we put that out before this show goes out, that could be the Christmas #1. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Possibly. Could there be a fine of endorsement? You were going to be in it, you're not now.
You were going to play Boris.
Yeah.
You're voting Republican?
Yes. And I'm a registered Democrat.
You're a registered Democrat?
Yes.
Sounds like you're pretty disillusioned.
Yes, I am.
His wife is sticking with the Democrats, but it's clearly causing tension.
And we're probably not going to be married much longer.
Stephen Fry got the hump, left Twitter. It's taken me so long to get on Twitter. Finally, this week, I went, right, I'll join Twitter. And like an hour later, Stephen Fry went, I'm over this. Bastard. It was, somebody accused him of being a bit boring. And he went, right, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore.
He replied directly to his critic immediately, who'd called his tweets boring, saying, whereas yours are so fascinating, I can barely contain my feelings. Now, who tweeted the following recently? I got caught shoplifting by the security guard in French Connection today.
Gene Hackman.
No, it was somebody calling himself Ian Hislop.
Oh, really? Well, there's the giveaway.
Another person claiming to be Ian Hislop tweeted, I am the real Ian Hislop. Anyone else claiming to be me twittering is, unsurprisingly, a fake. This should be my only tweet. Thank you.
That was me. I was trying to stop the other person who's pretending to be me, who's got millions of followers. More, apparently, than the Dalai Lama. I was told if I put a thing on saying, I'm not him, it would stop it, but it didn't.
How do we know this is you?
Yeah.
Anybody can come along here looking like Ian Hislop.
Yeah.
Talking all the usual stuff.
Do you know how Sun Meng ended up on top of an air conditioning unit on the outside of an apartment block?
Did the husband come in unexpectedly from work? Hello, darling.
Yes, that's exactly right.
He grabbed an enormous fig leaf, which he found in the hotel lobby, and then out he went and onto the air conditioning unit.
Sun told The Sun what most concerned him. Do you know what he said?
You've got the same name as me.
No, he said, people are even laughing at how I look naked, but I must point out, it was a very cold day.
And to be fair, he was standing on an air conditioning unit.
Yeah, and he does have a very small penis as well. I think that's important.
Oh, really?
Well, the leaf isn't very big, I'm thinking. Right, yes.
What do you mean? We're not big. Look at the size of it. It's enormous.
You've been spoiled. You've been spoiled, you have.
You're probably standing under there going, just wait till autumn.
Please welcome Marcus Burton. Oh, bollocks. Marcus Burton.
Marcus Bollocks? You're not one of the Hampshire Berg Bollocks, are you?
Yes. I had to change my name. There was already one in Equity.
Ah, indeed. That'd be Lionel.
You work with Lionel?
Worked with Lionel. I've worked with Lionel for many years. You know his real name is Linoleum. His wife walks all over him, terribly.
Please welcome Marcus Brigstock. Well, should we have a look at how much fun they were having?
Yeah.
There's Sarkozy having fun and Gordon Brown... Well, no.
Do you think he smiles until a camera finds him? Maybe he's jolly most of the time. Oh, no, camera, no.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to pitch a news event, isn't it? And is the wall coming down something to smile about? Ha-ha, freedom? Or is it, oh, people died? I mean, you don't know if you're Gordon, and whichever way you do it, you'll get kicked.
And how would I feel if I was a bricklayer?
That's the issue no one's raising.
It's a shame Berlusconi didn't go, don't you think? Just would have been fun, just to hear what Silvio had to say about the whole thing.
They sent a driver for him, but it was a topless woman who never got out of the car park. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
Yeah, it was all about knocking down walls. If it was about knocking up women, he might have been there.
Very much.
They all claim to have helped demolish the Berlin Wall, except for Marcus. Although you did go through a hole in a wall, didn't you, at one point?
Oh, no.
On that hole in the wall show?
No.
Come on.
Well, it's a good thing we haven't got footage of it, because
Yes.
that would have made you feel really awkward.
Oh, Lord, no.
We have, actually.
people who've been on here and have been caught out and done by the satirical duo that is Merton and Hislop.
I've not said a word.
And whatever host, then I come on and you just show me look like a big silver tit.
Oh, well, I'll take that line off my script. Now, you mentioned David Hasselhoff earlier. It would be unfair not to mention the part that he played in the reunification of Germany. Should we just remind ourselves of how he looked then?
I've been looking for freedom. I've been looking so long. I've been looking for freedom. Till the search goes on.
Perhaps you don't feel so bad about your bit now.
I feel a strange sense of dignity.
Yeah. Now, this is a remarkable story. For the first time since I can remember, I actually feel sorry for Gordon Brown. John Major said he's got to a state where not only does everything he do go wrong, but people no longer hate him, they just feel pity. And Major said, I know this stage because I was there.
Anyway, so the week started badly for Gordon at the G20 Finance Ministers Summit. Why was that?
His idea for a tax nobody wanted.
That's right.
The tax he wanted to impose. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he wants a tax on all financial transactions that bankers do that make them a huge stack of money. Normally, there'd be a big, hooray, Gordon, you're taxing the bastard bankers. This week, oh, Gordon, taxing bankers, you idiot. you get to a stage where it's all over.
Yeah.
And he's there.
Who's going to be the new face of Labour on television?
Oh, Peter Mandelson.
Yes.
The Dark Lord. Yes. No, I think that's great, actually, because Peter Mandelson for so many years was regarded as slightly sinister and a bit
interesting use of the past tense.
And
the word slightly.
He's the face of Labour. Suddenly he's the best that they've got.
Yes.
I told you they'd had it.
Yeah.
They've become the 7th lottery millionaires in 3 years to come from what's become known as the Golden Gwent Triangle. So, Ian, you're Welsh. Do you think you might head home to buy your lottery tickets in future? Or are you more
From
a
the land
scratch
of my
card man?
fathers, yes. With that lovely Welsh accent I have.
Yes, it's very strong. I can hardly understand you at times. It's Kim Jong-il. He has 6 trains made up of 90 carriages using 19 stations, all for his own use.
Oh, like our trains. 2.5 hours to get in today.
Yeah, but you were coming from Wales, in fairness.
That's an albino squirrel.
Has it been knocked over? It doesn't seem to be lying down. Is that the purpose of it?
We're getting quite close there, Paul, yes. It
was accidentally killed, this albino squirrel, by Sir David Attenborough.
Yes.
Was doing a documentary about it. Here! He knocked it over and it just fell over.
All kinds of things that people have been leaving at the shrine.
Nuts.
Nuts is correct, yes.
An inspired guess.
Anyone see the Advice local resident Kevin put on Albie's Facebook page?
The squirrel's Facebook page?
Yes.
Was he on Twitter?
No, he wasn't.
That'd be the pigeons.
Any other attention-seeking squirrels in the news recently?
It's unfair to call him attention-seeking.
Yes, I suppose so, yes. Getting run over isn't really attention-seeking, is it?
It's a cry for help of a fairly extreme kind.
It's a squirrel that turned up in a couple's snapshot when they're on holiday.
Oh, yes.
The lake is called...
What is this? Lake Columbia?
It's called Lake Minnewanka.
Oh, so that's why you got the picture out.
And Tony Blair refuses to be...
He charges to be photographed.
Yes, that's part of it, yes.
I think so. You can get pictures of you and Tony smiling.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, me and
then
Tony.
what? Cherie just leans in with the tin.
Is this a British magazine?
Yeah, it is, I think. It is a British magazine.
Called Happiness?
Yes, Happiness.
Not selling well, then.
Yeah, they're OK about it, though. They have the resources to cheer up and just carry on losing money on it.
Like the Independent, then.
What? Wear your party pants.
It's happy hour.
Yeah, in the right area.
It's party pants hour.
Is it?
Hitler, wasn't he what?
Awful. I mean, he was. The more I hear about him, I think...
Was it horrid?
Oh, I mean, he always had a good word to say for nobody.
Yeah, and so cross-looking, wasn't he? He should read Happiness magazine.
Keep smiling, keep shining, and keep what? Specifically, it's a wild yeehaw in your soul. Yes,
Is this an American publication?
Well, there are a lot of American writers in it, but I'm told it's British.
It doesn't feel very British, does it?
I know. Well, Happiness isn't, is it? This is the editorial in Happiness magazine, which also includes the happiness tip of the month. Install a fuck it bucket in your home, an office, or indeed studio.
Joining Paul Merton tonight is the Transport Union leader who proudly boasts that he uses public transport every day. Well, not if some idiot's called a strike he doesn't. Please welcome Bob Crow. And
it's a tough crowd, isn't it? Any commuters in from...
You realise if you're not nice, he won't let you go home.
Now, Bob, you're a Eurosceptic, aren't you?
No, I'm not a Eurosceptic at all, no. I just don't like the European Union, not European people. People like yourself I don't mind, but it's those people that... those people in the European Union Constitution. It's basically enshrines privatisation. All the things that have gone wrong in this country, like water going up, electricity going up, transport being privatised, the European Union enshrines it. Not all down to the EU, but the EU enshrines it. So I've got more in common with a Chinese labourer than someone like yourself. But I'm not against... You know all about struggling for workers at Cambridge, no doubt. You'll be telling some tales later on.
No, it was Oxford, but again...
There you go.
It's that old detail on the train lines, isn't it? Circle line, district line, doesn't matter, they don't work anyway.
I think you've got quite a lot in common. If you squint, you look alike.
Yeah.
I'm in danger of agreeing with you.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, have you...
I knew you would after a while.
Have you seen this show, Bob?
Anyway, dragging it back to comedy. Now listen, sorry everyone, we just have to stop now because Bob has negotiated a 10-minute tea break. So.
Just you, is it?
Yeah, you have it.
A biscuit?
Well, I don't think one cup of tea's enough. I think all the workers should get one.
Yeah, all the workers can bring some if they want some.
Individualism again, see? 25 years ago, everyone would have got a cup of tea.
You're working.
Now he's on his own.
Thatcherite greed, that's all it is.
Were you born with a silver cup in your mouth? David Cameron took a private photographer with him to take pictures of him overlooking the sort of, the various sort of poppies around, and Gordon Brown did the same thing afterwards, and they apparently should have had permission to do that, and they didn't have permission to do that.
It was a PR stunt by both of them, and they had to apologise to the Dean of Westminster. I mean, both of them were going along to... It was a service for the passing of the First World War generation. I only know that because I actually went. And I was standing outside and I saw Cameron. And I thought, that's very odd, that photographer's right up his nose taking pictures. Why is he allowing that? And then I stupidly forgot that Cameron used to be a PR man. So he was actually there saying, this is me grieving. How sad do I look now? Then we go in the service, and you find out afterwards, everybody else, they're playing the last post and everyone's welling up. Brown's people are going, they've had a photo op. Get us a photo op. So as soon as Brown walks out, it's Brown walking through the poppies. Am I grieving now? How sad do I look now? I mean, it was utterly sickening. Anyway, that's just a personal view.
Listen, Jimmy, if you want to dive in with an inappropriate gag at any time, don't hold back on my part.
I have to say, the phone thing, there was a very good moment. This is just a brief diversion. I was sitting behind a pillar, sort of way at the back, and just as the Archbishop started his sermon, a phone went off. And it was in the tourist kiosk. It was the phone that leads to one of the credit card machines. So the Archbishop's about to start proof. This phone goes off. He rang 3 times, and we're all sitting there very civilian-like going, this is so embarrassing, the phone's going off. And an old bloke behind me with a jacket and a group of medals went over the back, went round and went... End of phone noise. Bob Crew accuses someone else of being thuggish. Millwall fan.
Well, come down here.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything.
They'll take you like a duck to water.
Better.
Would you see Ian down at Millwall? Do you think
certainly.
Possibly as the mascot.
I've got...
The tube news room. Well, I think we were just stopping it before it hit us.
This is the lobster story.
It is. Oh, well, I could have told you that. Yeah. I mean, if that's the level we're playing now, I could have had a pint.
You're an expert, aren't you? The amount of lobsters you must eat.
I eat more or less nothing else, Bob. But I do stop occasionally to quaff champagne before picking up my cane, leaving my club, and thinking, shall I go down the tube? Bit dirty.
Yeah.
Sarah Palin has been out promoting her book. Let's have a look at some of the interviews that were conducted with people in the signing queue in Columbus, Ohio.
And do you hope she runs for president?
I'd love it.
What are some particular issues of Sarah's that you would like to see her bring to office?
Oh, gee. Help me out here, guys.
Any policies, I guess, specifically of hers?
I can't think of the policies right off the bat.
To be honest with you, I don't know anything about her foreign policy.
And you're right, you don't have to compromise.
Yeah.
Compromise is for people that are wrong.
The state that she did was right across the street from Russia.
Right.
You know, so
cross the street and you'd be in another country.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that she's ever had to deal with Russia, but I'm sure she's had, you know, boundary issues that she had to deal with.
Yeah.
Like we got boundary issues in Mexico right now.
That man is his own father. And here's another good point, well made.
You want to give away your own money, that's fine, but don't tell me to give away my money. That's socialism.
Have a listen to this recent 911 call from America.
Clark County 911.
Somebody's really drunk driving down Granton Road.
Okay, are you behind them, or...?
No, I am them. Yes, I am them.
Okay, so you want to call and report that you're driving drunk?
Yes.
3 of those there are big fans of Judy's music. Songs from the shows, musicals, love it. Except Judy. No.
Did you just suggest that Bob Crow was a friend of Dorothy's? That's the bravest thing I've ever seen.
He's got a sensitive side. People think he's just a, you know, Millwall bloke who likes confrontation. I'm suggesting he's got a secret other side.
And you could unlock that.
Given a very large key.
That's made it worse!
Never use a mobile phone while what?
Is it whilst having sex?
No.
Can't talk now, going into a tunnel. I can just feel the disappointment on Ian's face. I can't bear to look. I'm sorry, Ian. I've let you down.
OK, this, yes, is very much Tiger Woods playing golf there. He started off on the fairway and ended up in the wrong hole. This is somebody else. There's a serious car crash there, which Tiger Woods was involved in.
Would you like to see a perfectly plausible reconstruction from a Taiwanese news programme?
Oh, yes, I heard about it, I didn't see it, though.
因为这是吵架，抓伤女士的脸，他一气之下开车离家，老婆追出来，整个查看，一分神就发生这起撞车意外。
I don't remember reading anywhere that he was driving a Renault Espace.
When did Mrs. Tiger Woods become a ninja?
That's completely wrong. She's using a 5-iron.
Why is this story the most important thing that's ever happened?
Well, because this geezer earns a lot of money from presenting himself as a regular family guy. Mind you, he's called Tiger. That might have given us a bit of a clue.
I think he's making a lot of money by being the best golfer in the world, first of all.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
She says that she slept with Tiger Woods 20 times. No one's impressed by that, no.
Depends how quickly those 20 times happen.
Yes, if it was in, like, 20 minutes, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or not.
A bit tiring at our age, Ian. Maybe. Shall we do some golf puns? I understand men like golf puns. Go on, go for it, then.
I've done all mine.
Watch the birdie.
Yeah, all
that. Yeah, marvellous.
He's a new driver.
Yeah. Can you hold the flag for me?
That's a slightly surreal one.
I know, but the other one sounded boring.
Yeah, oh, OK. No, I liked that one.
Yeah.
What can I add to that?
Yeah.
Tiger's been in the rough, lost his balls. Is that hair on your jacket? No, it's a bogey, that sort of thing. Sorry.
Are you in the sand, bunker? Well, I've got to finish the game first.
Are you in the club?
I'm glad you said that. He took the curse off my one.
Does anyone remember this bloke?
Oh, is he the shoe bunger?
Yeah.
He is the shoe bunger.
And he's turned shoe bungy.
Should we have a look?
That was fantastic. Now we've started the whole story up, and in about 6 months' time, somebody will throw a shoe at that guy.
That smile on his face was brilliant.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
You
fantastic?
know, if he was a Cockney, he'd be going, I had to do it. I had to do it.
What would you do with it if you had what they had to spend on
I think I'd get a haircut.
One really expensive one?
Yeah, I'd have it cut by the Queen.
Going anywhere interesting this year for your holidays?
This is the financial collapse of Dubai.
Oh,
Victims of the Dubai...
They've probably built another city by now.
I don't know why we have to kind of round it up after we've been talking about it.
We don't. We don't at all. Forget it.
No, I don't want to.
Shall I change my taxi?
We'll get an earlier taxi for you. Yeah, off now. God, I get enough crap off the Daily Mail already. I can see it's going to be so much worse now.
No, you'll be fine. Just read it.
Yeah, OK.
Not the Daily Mail, just the... There are some things you shouldn't put yourself through. Read the order queue. What happened in Dubai? Yeah. I didn't quite understand everything we said there. Is there sort of round-up you could give us?
According to the marketing blurb about these wellies, they have a snap fastening and a gusset which allows easy entry and a snug fit. I'm not writing this.
No.
I tried to get some kind of very complex political material in, but they wouldn't let me. They shut it, have a cake and do your fat jokes. They've all been depicted in cake, apart from...
Marie Antoinette.
Indeed.
Yeah, but I was meant to say that.
Yes. I say it again. You just say the words Marie Antoinette, and then no, I'll say it, and I'll mime to your voice.
OK. OK. They have all been depicted in cake, apart from...
I'm sorry. Let's do it again. First night nerves, love. You say it, and I'll mime it. OK, yeah.
They have all been depicted in cake, apart from...
Marie Antoinette.
Well done.
So what did he decide to do to the bankers in the end, darling?
Very little, sweetie.
Alistair Campbell also joined in on his blog this week. Did anyone see what he said?
No.
He wrote...
You're very bad at feigning enthusiasm, you really are.
Nothing like the blogosphere. I wonder what they've said out there. I expect it won't be mad and mention Hitler very quickly.
What evidence has been
called into question a lot this week.
Is this the evidence of climate change?
Yes.
Well, the debate on that is over now. There were two sides to it, but now Sarah Palin has joined the debate, and she says that global warming is a sham. So it obviously is. She's from Alaska, and it's cold there.
Probably why she hasn't noticed global warming.
So that's it. It's all over.
Well, yeah, but the 35,000 delegates in Copenhagen seem pretty convinced by it.
Well, they should listen to a proper scientist like Sarah Palin. She's been studying climate change all morning. The whole thing's been made up, deliberately, by polar bears. They're up to no good. They're trying to get free passage south, so they're saying, oh, the ice is gone. So they can come and live here. It's all in the Daily Mail.
What's the Top Gear views on that, James?
Personally, I'm with Sarah Palin in that I, too, don't have a bastard clue what I'm talking about when it comes to... I don't care, actually.
You don't care about the planet at all?
Not very much.
God, hanging around with Clarkson has really rubbed off. All I want to do is drive fast.
What did we learn from a Disney historian recently about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
That it wasn't actually true.
No, it was that it was going to be Snow White and the Nine Dwarfs. The final 7 were chosen from a short list of 50, but they were...
Very short list. Thank you very much.
There were 2 who only just failed to make it. Does anyone know what they might have been called?
It's a sort of rather unusual names. A brainy or slouchy or something like that, or contagious, something like that.
It was Jumpy and Baldy. Can you name any of the other possible dwarfs?
Scabby.
Scabby? Loony.
Funky.
Junkie, he wouldn't have been...
Hardcore friend of Dopey, he'd be all right.
Other names considered were Sniffy, Lazy, Stuffy, Shorty, Wheezy, Burpy, Dizzy, Flabby, Goopy, Scrappy, Tipsy, Titsy, Tubby and Woeful.
I just put out as Shorty. It's one of the more desperate ones because surely there's 7 dwarves. I mean, how much more growth restricted is this bloke that he's picked out as Shorty?
I think Titsy's my favourite.
You've got your own reasons for that.
According to the Disney historian...
Yeah.
Deffy was in the running.
Was he? But he didn't get the wake-up call? What happened? What happened to Deffy?
Does anyone know what this is?
Is it Go-Go Hamster?
That's it,
It's battery-powered and it runs around on the floor, but if you stroke it, it makes a noise.
Yeah.
But it's also poisonous.
Yeah.
Well, deliberately? I can see why it's a must-have toy.
It's slightly more dangerous than a real hamster.
It is, because you can suck a real hamster quite safely, but this has got...
They'll learn to love you for it. They'll learn to love you for it.
Do it gently.
Do it gently. Introduce it. Don't
but this
just
has
go
got...
straight in. Start off with an ear.
Why has this toy mouse been in the news this week?
Because it resembles an elephant?
No, it's not. It's been recalled by its distributors after a mother complained that instead of singing Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells, it appeared to be warbling Paedophile, Paedophile.
A rousing chorus in a minute. No. Paedophile, paedophile, pedo, all the way. Oh, what fun it... No.
And there were other photos of the Queen, too, a while ago. Anyone remember what she was doing?
It was this coronation, 1953. She made Queen. It's in all the papers.
She was twisting a pheasant's neck.
Misplaced H.
I was going to make a similar joke, but a different way. That's all right, man. Now, you get on there, man.
After you.
No, man, you are on fire.
Prince Charles supports Burnley.
Yeah. Must say I'd have thought he'd support Palace.
You, too, are on fire.
He's a Conservative, she's Labour.
Ooh.
And... Sounds better.
This could be a sitcom.
Or a tragedy.
Yes.
And then they have the wacky Lib Dem neighbor who pops in from time to time.
If it's wrinkled and bluish, it's...
It's mine.
Too much information.
Elf arrested for what?
Safety. Thank you, madam, but don't do that. Please don't laugh on your own. I know you've just thought of a joke that occurred to you some time ago, but... It seems odd if you're the only one laughing. It makes people think I'm working you with my foot.
Good evening, I'm Bill Bailey, and welcome to a special Christmas edition of Have I Got News For You? It's not very Christmassy, is it? That'll do. In Westminster, before making a big speech to quash rumours of his personal incompetence, Gordon Brown...
Doesn't even need the picture.
I just like the way it's going.
Well, yes, well, here we go.
Okay.
Shall we do that again?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's pretend we haven't heard that.
Yeah.
That's a
very silly man.
This is the BBC trying to balance out the effect of having a sensible Lib Dem on. No, this is Expenses, the story that won't go away.
What's the implication of what you just said, that you regard me as a sensible Lib Dem?
Yes, I'm sorry, that was almost pleasant. I must, must sharpen up. Expenses, you claimed all sorts of things, didn't you?
Charles.
That's better, Ian. Come on.
Yeah. Get him. Fight, fight.
You did claim some mints, didn't you?
And
which is pretty shocking compared to 20,000 on a bell tower.
And
with these typical Lib Dem, you can't even do big expenses.
It might have been extra strong mints, we don't know.
You claimed mints
it was
and 2 teddy bears.
And 2 teddy bears, yeah.
Which you gave away as prizes. Corrupt or what?
That is despicable.
By the way, I'm sufficiently stupid. The producer of this programme pointed out to me. I'm the first MP to have agreed to come on Have I Got News For You since the Expenses scandal erupted.
But you know what? You get our respect.
How, Charles, did you manage to resist the temptation? This was the excuse. Everyone was at it. It was all perfectly legal.
I'm not going to comment on colleagues.
A lot of them are going to have to retire. They'll be ex-colleagues.
Indeed.
Cheekily got out of that, but we'll edit it together so it looks like they were robbers.
It would just help if you just said those words now.
Can you just say the word thieving bastards? We'll mash it up over a drum and bass beat.
Yeah.
You'll be a YouTube sensation. thieving bastards! I couldn't possibly comment.
Is at the bottom of all this the fact that sort of Tony Blair prized the fact that we were, you know, America's the only superpower left, that we are their, you know, that we like to believe we're their closest ally. I mean, what the Americans think is a different thing altogether.
So, all these old civil servants were saying exactly that. What Tony really liked was posing around looking powerful.
Yeah.
Saying, good morning, W. That's a brilliant idea, sir.
Yeah.
Let's go in.
It was. It was like us hanging around America like some nerdy kid with a bully. You know, America going up to kids going, give us your sweets. And we look rugby and go, yeah. Yeah, come on. Because we wanted. This is the Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen, where the message was the planet is doomed unless we all drastically reduce our energy usage. There we go. We're doing our bit. Hey, that's 5 more minutes for the polar bears. Do you know how many lobes an octopus has?
Lobes?
Lobes.
6.
No.
8.
No.
15,000.
No.
86.
Lower.
84.
Lower. 82. Oh, no. Lower.
50.
50!
To be fair, I was cheating. I've got one under the desk. I've just been counting.
There's a species of octopus called the mimic octopus.
Oh, yes.
Which does impressions
Ronnie Corbett,
of
things
other
like that.
species.
I do impressions of other species.
Of other species, yeah.
What, like an elk or something? Slipping a seahorse through, that's an elk coming towards me.
Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's... Oh, no, not yet!
You said fingers on buzzers.
Oh, no, obviously, when I ask a question... Oh, can't pull.
Oh, OK, I think, just trying to picture this, carol singers, and there's a man there with a clipboard, which...
Is it a health and safety story?
Thing, yes. It's about what you... As carol singers, certain rules you must obey to make sure you mustn't start singing in the middle of a motorway. You must never bet in a casino that's run by an octopus. He'll always favour his own kind.
That's pretty much it, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. On the subject of carols...
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
That's Ilkley Moor Bartat.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And why am I playing on Ilkley Moor Bartat?
You've just got an advertising campaign coming up for hats in Yorkshire.
Don't be cold this winter. Wear that on bald head.
That's the one.
That one. That's the one. No, it's not that.
It's not that.
No. This is charting a musical history back to the 16th century. Jeremy Dibble, that's his life's work.
Was he related to the policeman in Top Cat?
Yeah.
Mr. Dibble?
Yeah.
Is that his brother?
It's a reclusive stepbrother. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jeremy, you coming out tonight? No, I'm working on my hymns. Which other old chestnuts have been given a roasting by the BBC this week? Oh, yeah, you should know this.
There was a list...
Yes.
Compiled by the BBC about its presenters, and it ranked them all in order.
Yep.
From desirable through to average, where Paul Merton and Ian Hislop featured.
I can't help but feel I've overachieved.
And in Westminster, after a particularly heavy lunch, one man has his favourite daydream, where he saves the world and everyone loves him.